I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.
Name's Arnie Norman from Boston, Massachusetts. Grew up in poverty, as we would say, as people describe us. Dysfunction, craziness, public schools, failing out, couldn't read until the third grade. Got into the streets, tried to buy the stuff that I wanted because my family couldn't afford it. And even though I started out, my first crime was stealing candy from the corner store. And it just kept going. To now I'm selling weed in the park. To now I'm in penitentiary with a ton of time. When I first get to the penitentiary, it was a reunion of all my friends from the dummy class, all my friends from the principal's office, all my friends from juvie. They were all there. And they were like, yo, Dre, what took you so long? We knew you were coming. So I got in with my homies day one. And I'm out on the bas. I used to hoop. So I'm out on the court hooping, you know what I'm saying, having a good time. I'm with my friends. These are all my friends from elementary. These are all my friends from middle school and high school. These are my friends. So I'm like in a good company of people. I'm just in the penitentiary. And for the first 6 years, I fed into that life. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be ranked. I wanted status. I wanted respect. I wanted all the mythical stuff that we chase after. Then after I got it, I realized something. I'm the king of nowhere. I got all the status you can dream of. I've done all the stuff that you can think of. Now I'm the king of nowhere. And I realized that I didn't want to be the king of nowhere. So I came up with a plan that I wanted to be successful and not the king of nowhere. So I said, I need to go home and go to college. So I picked Harvard University as my destination. Taught myself to read, taught myself the law, went to anger management, went through all the stuff I had to go through, flipped one of my cases on appeal. And for the next 8 years, 20 hours a day, I worked on getting out of prison. And once I got out, November 15th, 99, I went from the prison to the parole office to a youth center. I did my first session with a bunch of young Black boys telling them why they were going to jail. And it was based on trauma, not based on circumstance. I started doing trauma-informed care 90 minutes after I got out. And I started working in the inner cities, doing programs, writing grants, and we raised about $25 million my first 4 years. We created the violence interrupter model, which are ex-offenders leading the movement. We created the Office of Faith-Based Community Initiatives that we signed into law with George Bush. We just started creating programs. I teamed up with a bunch of people from Harvard, and they had the technical skills. I had the lived experience, and we merged them. And that merger created stuff that had never been done before or packaged before. I'm saying it was always like the $1 million mousetrap that didn't work, or this was a great way to do it, but nobody heard it. But when we merged it together, we went global. And I spent the first 4 years with that agency. I left there and I went on my own. So I had a chance to work with Janet Reno when she was Attorney General, Ted Kennedy when he was Senator, all those folks. I moved into my own space and I started working for myself. Working for other people is great, working for yourself is better. And I started working for myself. And I got a contract with London Business School, so now I'm training all their people. Deutsche Bank, Denham Foods, Lens Construction, British Petroleum. I go down the list for hours. And I just started moving around the world. Now I'm a motivational speaker. I'm getting $10,000 a speech. I'm in Saudi Arabia. I'm in Australia. I'm in Germany. I'm all over the world just having a great time. Then somebody called me and said, hey, Dre, we need your help over here. I would go back and always go back and help people who came from where I came from. Now go into the cities and different places and help folks. Then I got my fellowship at Harvard Law School in 2016 under Charles Ogletree. That was for me, in 1991, I said it. In 2016, it happened. Now, I've given multiple speeches on campus at Harvard from 2000 to 2016, but it was just a guest speaker. In 2016, when I got my email that said anorman.edu.harvard, it was over. It was over. And I wake up and I ask myself one question. What can I do to be helpful? That's my guiding post for the day. So when I got up this morning, I said, what can I do to be helpful? And this podcast is going to be one of them, but this won't end my day. And I go throughout my day asking myself that question. What can I do to be helpful? And it's generally to somebody else. I need to help myself. And 2 years ago, there was a riot in prison in South Carolina. 7 men were murdered, 30 were wounded. And the director of programs reached out to me. And she asked me to come to South Carolina. I said, lady, I got a business. And I am in high demand. I'm scheduled, booked all the way out through the next 6 months. I ain't got time. And she asked me, where's your commitment to the people? That's what my whole schedule. Got on a plane, took the homies. We flew to South Carolina. The entire prison system in lockdown for 5 months. We went through 10 prisons in 6 days, spoke to 8,000 prisoners. And we let them all out their cells for the first time. There was no fights, no riots, no retaliation.
Wow.
And the director, Brian Sterling, asked, could we come back and run a program? So we came back, and having been a boss myself and had bosses with me on my team, I don't surround myself with weak people. That's one of the corniest things ever. Have a bunch of yes men. And we went in there, and for the last 2 years, we've run the Academy of Hope program that we created for South Carolina. Got all the top gang leaders, influencers, bosses we could, put them in one unit. And over the course of 2 years, we've had one fight.
Hey.
Really a COVID fight. They were arguing over something popped up over COVID. But the baseline, we went from 7 murders to none. We went from fights every day to none.
Man.
Use of force every other minute to none. You know what I'm saying? Because when you treat people like people, they respond like people. You treat people like animals, they respond like animals. So we went in there and just talked to them like men. And we understand, I'm not here to adopt you. I can't guarantee you're going to get out. But I'm going to show you how you can be the greater version of yourself. And they accepted the challenge, and they've risen to it. And 2 years in, they're going, I got a letter here on my desk someplace from the UN asking my guys to come to the UN and help them with, I got it here somewhere. I'll find it before we leave here and I'll show it to you. The UN, this is from the United Nations, asking the Academy of Hope and our men to support them in teaching young people in the Middle East not to join jihadist movements and blow up stuff. So they are not only helping with inside the prison walls make it better, they're helping the world be better. One of these young men that they're going to convince not to join Al Qaeda's group and blow up some shit might blow up the next something in the United States. That's the value that these men have. Being incarcerated, having been criminals, having been convicted, does not stop their value as people. So regardless what circumstance you're in, as a person, you hold immense value. So never let your circumstance dictate your ability to impact the world.
Hey man, that's a powerful, powerful intro.
Amen.
And I jotted some stuff down there. I know for sure I want to get into a few things.
Yeah. Before we go into anything, I just kind of want to walk it back, man. Because like my brother said, that's a very powerful story. Just like there's so much in there to go into, but I kind of want to take it back to you learning these skills that made all this possible. Because, like, you know, you said something in there where you were talking about like whenever you realized you were the king of nothing, but like you had learned all these different skills and stuff. You felt like even though you were the king of nothing, you still knew a lot. You knew a bunch, and you took that and turned it into this. So I kind of want to just speak to like how that process worked out, like in creating those programs and like helping you reform, like create these reform programs and turn it into like your passions into a business.
What happens is the things that you've been through, if you've had a drinking problem and you've gotten past it, you're the number one person to coach someone else with a drinking problem. If you're a lawyer, guess who you're going to be? Who you're going to train? Future lawyers. Guess who trained police? Current police. So everybody has that person down the line in front of them. So every judge, every lawyer, every doctor, every whoever is trained by somebody who's currently in that space. So I was in the criminal justice space as a criminal, and it's a $50 billion a year prison program for the United States. The criminal justice system is $275 billion. They pour in police, courts, and prisons to manage this. And none of the people they're pouring money into have been in prison.
Wow.
But they're all governing it. The police ain't never technically committed a crime. The judge ain't committed a crime. The warden ain't committing crimes, but they're all managing people who've committed crimes. They're all managing people who have a completely different mindset from them. If you drop me in the middle of Bangladesh and talking about, yo, Dre, inspire somebody, I know what these people been through. I don't know what their daily life is like. So their task has never been to fix the problem. All the people that they've hired, nice people or not, have been hired to manage the problem. That's why the problem is not getting smaller, it's getting bigger and it's getting worse. Because most of the people hired are not there to fix it. They're there to manage it. That's why shootings in Chicago are out of control. That's why shootings in New Orleans are out of control. That's why robberies and all this stuff is out of control, because nobody's trying to fix the problem. They're only trying to manage the problem.
That's powerful. And even on the managing the problem part, I kind of want to go a little bit further back. Whenever you said, it felt like a reunion for you with all of your homies and everybody who was there before. And you said they were like, we knew you was coming. It was just when was it? I wanted to know, how was your mentality then? Because you also said another thing, that whenever you got out, you started teaching people, it's trauma versus circumstance. So I kind of want to talk to you about that trauma that was created for you and your peers to make you feel like, hey, jail is a place for us to thrive and actually have this type of fun.
It's not so much a place to thrive. Wherever you put me, I'm going to be me. If you put me in a prison cell, I'm still Andre. I still tell jokes. I used to rap. I used to dance. I used to hoop. So wherever you put me, you take LeBron James out of LA, stick him in Australia, he's going to find a basketball. Nobody's going to wonder why. You take him, you move him down to Argentina, he's going to find the basketball. Take Dave Chappelle, put him in North China, he's going to find the microphone, he's going to tell some jokes. That's what he does. The environment doesn't change who you are internally. You can take Minister Farrakhan and put him anywhere, and he's going to speak truth to light. That's just what he does. You can take Al Sharpton and put him anywhere, he's going to bullshit somebody. Because that's just what he does. You know what I'm saying? Everybody does what they do. And that's so you put us all in a building. I was a criminal, so you stuck me in a building with a bunch of criminals. I want to keep being a criminal. I didn't just stop. Walking through that gate didn't change me. It just changed where I do what I do. I used to do it in the street. Now I do it behind the wall.
So after those 6 years, what was that thing that clicked in your head that made you say, you know what, I'm not a criminal. Like, my life is greater than that. So what made you say, okay, I want to be a better version of myself?
My goal was to be the #1 gangster in the system. That was my goal. And I was fighting and stabbing and fighting and riots on airplanes. I've been shipped to 9 different states. I've been through it. So I went from the state system, she put me in the federal system, 9 different penitentiaries in the feds, sent me back to the state, caught some more cases. They put me in county jails. I've been all over the map. I've been tortured, chained to beds, chained to floors, forced medicated. I done been there, done that. Strapped up, knives in my hand, fighting, done, you name it and done it. Years in basement cells with no sunlight, locked in the cell. I've been left not fed for 4 days. I'm not crying. This is the life that I subscribed to. This is the life I signed up for. And it was all in quest to become that #1 guy. When I got to the threshold where I had the opportunity to, in theory, become this mythical #1 guy, because it's all fake, but in my mind it's real, I saw it for what it was. It's like the Wizard of Oz. Dorothy and her team land in Oz and they marching down the road. And they finally get to Oz, they pull the curtain back and they see it's all fake. But mind you, even though they saw it's all fake, everybody else in Oz is chill. Everybody in Oz is okay. There's nobody in Oz upset about being in Oz. They accepted they're living in the middle of a fantasy. Dorothy thought that she can get to the end and get out of fantasy. Then she realized she couldn't. That wasn't the way. I'm in this fantasy world of masculinity and toughness and gangsterism, all this stuff that they gave us. When I got to my end of the road and I pulled the curtain back and it was my turn to jump into the wizard's chair, I saw it for what it was. It was all fake. Now, there's money attached, yes. There's status attached, yes. But it's a fake world, dude. We're locked in cages. We're kept without sunlight, away from our families, away from popularity. We have nothing. We're in complete control. And I said to myself, Dre, if you the boss, let yourself out of here. If you the boss, for real, let yourself out. That's what you truly want. And I got this little CO with 150 pounds that I bully every day. I got the other COs that I be bullying every day. I said, man, they go home every day though. Yeah, you chump him, disrespect him, make him do things, but he go home at the end of the day. So whatever I think of him is irrelevant. He gets to go home. So who's really the boss? I said, dude, if you the boss, let yourself out. And I'll say this to any dude in the penitentiary across the world, If you the boss, let yourself out. And when you can't do that one thing, then that tells you you're not truly the boss. You're just managing a space that they left you in. You don't really want to be in. You've convinced yourself, like the rest of the people in Oz, that I'm going to make the best of a bad situation.
That's powerful. That's really powerful that was the thinking that had you, okay, man, I done done all of this shit. I done everything that I thought I had to do to really become that dude, that number one person. But once you got there and you knew that I can't control whether I leave this fence or not, this don't mean shit.
Like you said earlier, it almost the whole system is like people managing the problem versus trying to actually fix the problem. And I'm glad that's where you came in with what you do. So with that process of you, like after you realized it, how did you begin that process of like educating yourself and like changing your daily habits?
First thing, I didn't change my habits. My habits were fine. What I was spending my time was the problem. I mean, I'm intelligent, I'm insightful, I'm resourceful, I'm dedicated, I put in hours. That's all good. I just need to put it towards something else. So my thing was, I had to tell myself the truth because I've been lying to myself that I was winning. You come see me in the penitentiary, how you doing? I'm doing good. I got this. Never once did I say I shouldn't be here. I don't want to be here. This sucks. I thought I was doing good. My mother came to see me one time. I'm talking about all this madness, and she's like, I done lost my son. Because I didn't 100% bought into this world. And I'm not talking about the trumpet. I'm not talking about my siblings. I'm talking about hustling. I'm talking about status. She looked at me like I done lost my mind. I'm locked in a cell 24 hours a day. I only come out with handcuffs and waist chains on. I take a shower 3 times a week, no sunlight. And I thought I was winning because I controlled some dope. I thought I was winning because I controlled some soldiers. I thought I was winning because I could chump the CO that goes home every day. And I had convinced myself that I was winning. You could not tell me I wasn't winning. Hush probably thought he was winning. They ran up on his ass last week. You could not convince him he wasn't winning, and he was. But the baseline was, I thought I was winning, and I told myself the lie I needed to tell myself to stay mentally awake. If I told myself the truth, I'd have broke down sooner, which would have led to a transformation sooner. I had to tell myself the truth. I'm Black. I'm uneducated. I'm a high school dropout. My family's dysfunctional. We really don't have real money. I'm technically homeless. I don't have a house or a lease. And I just went down a list of things that I am. I got anger problems. I got violent problems. I don't listen. You know what I'm saying? I'm a bully. I just listed it all. And after I listed it all, I could hang it on my wall and say, that's the stuff I need to fix. I started putting my energy towards, well, what can I fix? Then I put that, who I was, in correlation to my goal, going to Harvard. So I said, now what on that list is acceptable for Harvard? What do I need to change and fix to be able to be accepted into that space? And I started working on that list every single day. I got my GED. I went to anger management. I went to the law library. I started going to self-help groups. I started going to this group, and I started going to this group, and I went to that. Everything I could do to change that list that I had. I couldn't change the perception people had of me. That don't matter. But I could change what was really on that list, and I did. Then when I showed up to Harvard, I was received because they saw the man that I was, not the man that I used to be. In the first agreement I had at Harvard, I didn't stab anybody. I didn't punk nobody. Like, yo, we can take this outside. No, we can take this to the whiteboard. So whatever disagreement, let's go to the whiteboard and see who can really figure this out. Versus, yo, let's do these. This is all based on these.
That's easy. That's the easy part.
It's easy, but it's not a win. What are you really winning? So my new thing is, in every house I got, you see them? I got 2 whiteboards over there. Let's take it to the whiteboard. Let's take it to the whiteboard. I ain't taking it to the yard and smashing you. I ain't strapping up trying to kill you. I'll kill your ideas. I'll kill your philosophy. I'll shred anything you put on me, you know what I'm saying, on that board.
I got money on my mind. I'm just trying to get some dough. I ain't picking up my line unless it's money on the phone.